Hello, everybody. It's the Worm back with some more 999. Last time was very heavy, I guess, is how I'll describe it. Um, Quite a lot happened in a short span of time. I'll just say it. Clover went on a mass murder and mass murder spree, and Junpei got axed a question, and that was it. That was that's all that happened. That was it. Nothing else happened. That's all I can remember. Also, I found something. I just realized, and I just thought it was kind of neat. Look at this. Here's a calculator. Look at this button here. Whoosh. Isn't that nifty? I never noticed this until just now. This probably would have been pretty useful at several points throughout my playthrough. But hey, I found it now, so that's fun. I was also just doing some messing around. If we think it's Ace that kills Lotus and takes her bracelet, because every time Lotus is killed, her bracelet is taken. And if we think, well, maybe Ace went back to get the 9 bracelet, that would be 9. That's a way out right there. Trying to think of some other things, just from different points of view. Let me try. There's one too. So if we want a way to go against the Seven and Santa theory for who killed Snake, here's one too. Ace could have gone back, got the Ninth Man's bracelet, and killed Snake that way. Because part of, last time I'm not sure I was as coherent as I could have been. Most like at one point I think I said I mentioned Santa being somewhere when he wasn't at the time. I was just kind of in a panicky state of mind, so I may not have been thinking straight or getting all the information I wanted to out. But essentially, what I want to make clear is that although Seven and Santa are suspects, I don't believe that I don't believe they're the ones that killed Snake. I am thinking Ace is probably going to be the big bad of this. And I think I said it in my second playthrough. It's been so long. I can't recall when I said it, but I'm pretty sure at one time I gave my thoughts on what precisely happened during that whole Snake situation. And the idea is that we spent an hour going through all those different doors, and we were all split up. And it was the perfect time for the killer to basically do whatever they wanted for an hour, or any sort of so it's easy. Ace could have easily went back, gotten the Ninth Man's bracelet, and as we can see here, 192 will do it. So if we want to try and clear Santa and Seven, here's a way to do that. Here's a way to argue for their potential innocence. And yeah, so I mean, basically, my if I want to try and get before getting into the actual endings, the big, and maybe the true ending, if I want a big overarching guess at who's the big bad, it's Ace. Ace is my guess. I'm guessing he killed Lotus. I'm guessing he killed Snake using the Ninth Man's bracelet. Yeah. And he's had several just strange confrontations or conversations with people. Yeah, that's my theory. So it could be wrong, fair enough, but that's my guess going into the end game. That's where I think it'll go. Also, another thing to talk about. Funnily enough, I recently started playing another visual novel around the same time. If you're watching this as these are released, or just look back at what's being released alongside this, you'll know what I'm referring to. But interestingly enough, that game in its opening sort of well, I'll say is I think I've been told that this whole flowchart did not release with the original release of this game on the DS. I believe that's where this game first. I believe it was on the DS first. It wasn't on PC. And as part of that, there was no flow chart. So obviously there whatever tutorial or anything. There's no real like tutorial for this. It's just here's the flow chart. So they don't really explain much of what this is. But in any case, in this other visual novel I'm playing, there actually is a tutorial, and there is a similar thing to this flowchart. I'm not sure they do they use flowchart? They might actually use the word flowchart. Anyway, there's a flowchart like thing, just like this, and they have a tutorial, and they talk about it, and they actually mention keys. And they say that keys are actually... they may, and I'm not sure, I think because there are key cards and actual keys, I was associating these sorts of symbols, just in my mind, with actual physical things. And the other visual novel that I played said, well, no, keys can actually just be information. It doesn't necessarily have to be a physical thing. And so that kind of went, well, I guess that could be the case for this too. And also, so that's one thing. Second thing, I am more of an idiot than I thought I was. Because I've been sitting here wondering what these mean when I never even realized that the keys here are actually shaped and colored differently for colored differently. I understood, just looking at it, but they're actually shaped differently. Look, there's square keys, and then there are circle keys, and then they're also color coded, red and white. And so obviously, I didn't even, it is a lot less complicated than I realized, because they quite simply are showing you what you need to do, which paths you need to take in order to get the endings. So there's still this mysterious third ending. I don't know where that is, but obviously take the white path, take the white path, take the white path, bam, you get that ending. Or take the red, take the red, take the red, red ending. So that seems to be the simple way to do this. Now, I do have to say, or I do have to wonder, the people on the DS who had this before this flowchart, they must have had quite a different time, because not only did they weren't able to skip like I can, but they wouldn't have any of this, so they would have to reason it out. And that makes me feel like, because I was looking at this again, and then it just clicked. I realized, oh wait, they're color coded and shaped differently. And once you realize that, you can't reverse that. Now I just know. I've lost my ignorance. I can't retreat back into it. But I guess previously people would just have to experiment and, until they found the right combination of routes to get to the endings. So part of me is actually kind of all right with that. I don't know if I wanted to do a bunch of experimentation in order to figure all these sorts of things out, but I am curious what these might be. Maybe this is something like the bookmark or something, like now that I know they're not key cards or keys. Kitchen, That could be our Ice 9 conversation, maybe. Operating room. What is happening? Operating room, we do get actual two, like a key card and a key, I think. Oh, and someone informed me I had taken a wrong note and said, oh, excuse me. Someone had said that, yeah, 3, 8, and 7. Someone had said that I wrote down we got Jupiter key behind door 2. This is door 2, and door 2 goes straight to confinement room. So I must have just when I was reorganizing my notes, I must have just put that in the wrong place. Okay, so let's, I said I was going to try and get here first. Let's try and do that. I'm going to try and make the choices. I think it was plate on the shelf.
Hey, Junpei.
Yeah. I'm going to take it. And then these sorts of scenes just ended, right? They did. Now here's a question. If I do this, if I go back and do this, let's test this. No, I don't take it. I don't want it. There we go. Confirmation. It is in fact the bookmark. Makes sense.
Junpei.
There we go. And, okay, why is this one already... Why is this one already not... why is this one already unlocked? That almost makes it seem like it's dependent on this one, but if it were dependent on that, why would it be here at all? Huh, so this confuses me. Let's try this real quick. Oh no, this is the... No, this is not right. This is ahead. I'm guessing it's the conversation, but... Let's say I refuse the conversation. Don't tell me about Ice 9. I don't want to hear it. Doesn't matter. Don't tell me. Yes. Yes, yes. Okay. So, it's bookmark. Knowledge, then knowledge of Ice 9. Okay. It did seem rather odd. Tell me about Ice 9. 96 degree, da 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 da. Glycerin. I was kind of annoyed.
What does that have to do with
As far as
what she's a lot like? Oh, that would be if water. Man,
It'd be the end of the world.
skip, skip, skip. Okay. Now here. This is 7. Is this one where we go with... Yes, yes, yes. Yeah. So
think we
this
should
is...
go back?
Oop, sorry. This is where we... hear this story. Yep, yep, yep. So
like
this
the
is like...
molecules were communicating with one another, transmitting information in a way humans couldn't perceive. This phenomena spread throughout the world, right?
Oh, interesting. Okay, so I must have in the past, when I got here the first time, I didn't do it in the exact same order. But now I'm doing it in this order, so Junpei has something to say because he heard the Ice 9 story. Junpei looked up with 7 with half a smirk. 7 stared at him dumbfounded.
Yeah, that's it exactly. But how did you know?
I heard another story, kind of like that one.
When?
In the freezer?
What? The freezer?
Yeah, June told me.
Junpei told 7 the story he'd heard from June in the freezer in the kitchen. How one day glycerin began to crystallize, and the story of ice that wouldn't melt at room temperature. When Junpei was done, 7 looked thoughtful and absent-mindedly rubbed the scar on his chin.
Ice that doesn't melt at room temperature, huh?
That sounds familiar?
Yeah, hold up. I feel like I can remember something. It's right there.
7 squinted, his eyes stared off into space as if he were trying to desperately focus on something far away.
you?
Let's actually say Ice 9, see if that jogs his memory.
Do you know about Ice 9?
Ice 9? Ice 9. Ice 9. Ice.
Suddenly 7's eyes shot open.
That's it. I remember now. That woman, she's on this boat.
That woman?
Alice!
We got a book that said Alice on it.
Who's Alice?
Come on. The woman who won't melt at room temperature.
Huh?
It became clear to 7 that Junpei had no idea what he was talking about. He ran his head across his face and took a deep breath.
You know how the Titanic sank on April 15th, 1912, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, more than 1,500 people died. Worst maritime accident in history. What about it?
Did you hear about the boat that was sent to collect the dead bodies?
I think that was the RMS Carpathia, right? It was a cruise liner, just like the Titanic.
No, that was the ship that picked up the survivors. The ship that collected the dead bodies was the CS McKay Bennett.
Okay. I don't know much about this. I know about the Titanic, but I've not read in depth about it, so this is all new to me.
The McKay Bennett showed up on April 17th, 2 days after the accident. It set out from Halifax, a port in Canada, and recovered 306 bodies. The Atlantic that far north was really cold. It would have to be for there to be icebergs and stuff. Anyway, the bodies they pulled out of the water were frozen solid.
This isn't a very nice story. So, what happened next?
Well, they say the McKay Bennett recovered something more than just dead bodies. There were various bits of stuff floating around in the water. Things the drowned had carried with them, or stuff that dislodged as the ship sank.
Makes sense.
One of the things they found was a coffin.
Ooh. A coffin, you say? I've seen a coffin.
A coffin?
Yeah, a wooden one. The craftsman who made it must have been pretty skilled.
I've seen 2 coffins. There have been 2 coffins in this game. One in the cargo hold and one at the where the 9 doors are.
It wasn't just a wooden coffin. It was all wood, no nails, no reinforcements, no gaps in the wood anywhere. The thing was airtight.
And there was an Egyptian mummy.
The crew got pretty curious about what might be inside it and opened it up. They had to get a wedge and hammer it open. It was so well made. Inside, they found a woman. I guess you should say they found a dead body of a woman.
Okay. All right.
Her hair was thick and black, and her skin rich brown with no blemishes or signs of decomposition. They say that she looked gorgeous, like a goddess. She was obviously dead, but everyone who looked at her said she just looked like she was sleeping. Her skin was so lifelike, she looked like she might wake up any minute.
It's not gonna be. Okay, I just had the thought. It's not gonna be Zero's the Mummy, right? I mean, that's just not gonna be. That's not in the cards, right? Right?
She didn't. Like the rest of the bodies they found, she was frozen solid. Eventually, the McKay Bennett finished searching and returned to Halifax.
Okay, let's just keep going.
The 306 bodies were unloaded and taken ashore. However, it was warm enough that they began to thaw. They say that the stink was horrible, but there was
would
one
imagine.
body that didn't thaw,
The mummy.
and that was...
The girl in the coffin.
That's right. Everybody thought for sure that she'd melt and start to rot like the rest of them eventually, but weeks passed and nothing happened. And a month passed, and another. It was summer, and she was still frozen solid. After a while, people started to say she was some sort of miracle. Rumors about her started to spread. People came to visit Halifax from all over. After a while, people started to call her All Ice.
Really? Okay.
Alice. Of course, those rumors didn't last long.
Why?
Well, she up and disappeared. One day Alice was there, the next day she wasn't. They say someone snuck into where they were keeping her and stole the body. With the body gone, the rumors followed pretty quickly. After a while, no one remembered her. You might be able to find something about her if you could find a newspaper from back then, but that's about it.
Wait, you just said that she was on this boat.
Yeah, I did. Alice has got to be somewhere on this ship,
Now, why the hell would you say something like that?
because I know
And just what is it you know?
what happened to Alice after she was stolen.
Junpei gulped. All right, let me hear it, Seven.
All right, tell me, what happened to Alice?
Seven nods slowly. So now I see. Now, having done this, now I understand. At the time, when I did this episode, the episode where I was in the operating theater, the operating room, I said something like, "Oh, now I see. There's a connection. There's the Sheldrake story. There's the Ice Nine story. There's this story. It's all very similar." So I'm sure, given enough time, I probably could have figured out. I should do a playthrough where all that those similar stories are connected. You know. So now I'm seeing how you could have done it. You know, I just kind of had the answer given to me. Unfortunately, but now I see the logic where you could have just done this. Yeah.
Well, around that time, the word was that there was a special black market in New York. All millionaires from all over the world.
Standing on this, we took on land, we're calling something long buried. Yeah.
I've heard that Alice went up for auction there. The person who won the auction was Lord Dashiell Gordain.
Ah, the man who got the what was it, the Gigantic, which is what we think we might be on currently.
You've heard that name before, right?
Lord Gordain. Oh, isn't he the guy who bought the Gigantic? The Titanic's sister ship.
Yeah, that's him. Although I guess he hadn't done that yet.
Well, if he wants to create the perfect recreation of the Titanic, and Alice was on the Titanic, then there you go.
What do you mean?
Gordain bought Alice in 1912. 4 years later, in 1916, he bought the Gigantic. And he hid Alice somewhere on the Gigantic. But nobody knows where.
Now, even though we had the scene where we saw this coffin with the two 9 doors, and we heard someone knocking from the inside, I don't think it was Alice. I think it was something, I think it was someone else.
He died in 1931. and apparently he died without ever telling anyone where Alice was hidden. However,
What?
well, he did have one close friend who asked him, "Where is Alice?" And he said, "Alice sleeps in a small chamber past the Forest of Knowledge beneath the navel of the Gigantic."
What the hell is that? Is it some kind of riddle?
Your guess is as good as mine.
Didn't we in I can't do flow. In the captain's quarters, was it captain's quarters or the one it was captain's quarters, right? Didn't we get a key card that said like library or something on it? Has to be that, right? Seven threw his hands up in defeat.
So that's it. Whatever you think, I believe it.
And you just know this. This is another case of the gigantic in the hospital room where you just know this, right? But you don't remember how you know this because amnesia, right?
She's hidden somewhere on the Gigantic. In other words, she's hidden somewhere on this ship.
Fortunately, could dispute Seven's rather bizarre claim. As Junpei was trying to figure out figure out what on earth he was going to say next. Clover's shrill voice pierced the room. Okay, I think we're good, right?
Hey, what are you two doing over there?
Talking about Egyptian mummies.
Stop wasting time and get over here.
Okay, we're coming.
Jeez.
Seven looked at Junpei.
Yeah, so anyway, that's the story. It might be useful someday. Don't forget it.
That cryptic remark, he turned and left the room.
Alice. Huh.
All ice. Man, that just seems all ice. Not sure how to feel about that just yet. Trying to remember what June had told him earlier. Yep.
That mummy wasn't just a normal mummy. They say that she was frozen.
So what, is it going to be this whole nonary game or experiment or something? Is it trying to unlock or recreate what happened with Alice or something? Maybe? I don't know.
The story says that from the time of its discovery all the way through to when it got put on the Titanic, even though it was carried through the desert, her body never melted.
Then was that Egyptian priestess Alice? Did the water in her body become Ice 9? No, that's nuts. There's no way somebody like that could exist.
Jimmy shook his head, trying desperately to clear it, and followed Seven to the operating room where Clover was waiting. Okay. So that's one knowledge tidbit key unlocked. Before the door.
Hey, hold on.
He's gonna go back to see Clover. Interesting. We never had this choice before. Well, obviously we have to,
Oh, yeah.
He didn't know why, but suddenly Junpei remembered something he'd been given earlier.
It's in my pocket somewhere. Here it is.
And she's Clover. We're giving Clover to Clover. Clover to Clover,
A 4-leaf clover.
Sand had given it to him at the second classroom. Held it out
Hey,
to
did
Clover.
you know? Each leaf means something. Hope, faith, love, and luck.
So is this going to convince her to not be a mass murderer? Or at the least, maybe not kill Junpei, at least.
That's what a 4-leaf clover stands for. Take it. Use it as a good luck charm.
He pressed the 4-leaf clover into her hand.
Listen to me, Clover. No matter what happens, you can never lose hope. You have to remember what's most important, and that's to have faith and to have love.
Listen to this smooth Junpei talking here.
If you can remember all of those, that'll bring you good luck.
You just came up with that right now? That is an amount of smoothness to be envious of, I'd say.
Snake, I mean, your brother, he's not dead.
Ooh, maybe not the best thing to say there.
He's alive, somewhere. I'm sure of it. You've just gotta believe in that.
Clover stared at the four-leaf clover in her hand. You could see tears starting to form at the corner of her eyes.
Thank you.
Her voice was tiny and broken, and as she spoke, she started to cry. She tried to hide her tears by looking at the floor, but it did little good. She wiped away tears with the baggy arms of her jacket, but more quickly took their place. No matter how she tried, she couldn't stop crying. Her tears made small wet circles on the floor.
Thank you.
She said it again. Then she looked up at Junpei and seemed to choke down the last of her grief. She did her best to smile. Junpei wiped an errant tear from her cheek with his thumb and gave her the best smile he could manage.
Come on. Seven's waiting for us at the exit.
But still, she didn't move.
Wait, before we go, there's one thing I want to ask you.
What's that?
What do you think when you hear the word experiment?
Can you elaborate? What do I think when I hear experiment? I think of, I don't know, a science classroom, beakers and machines and lab coats and doctors and, things of that nature. For a moment, his mind froze. Then he came back to his senses and realized the word meant nothing to him, aside from the dictionary definition.
What?
Oh, I guess it was just a coincidence then. I mean, that you knew about the four-leaf clover.
Look, I'm sorry. I don't want to be a jerk, but you are making less than no sense right now.
I don't know about that, Junpei.
Oh, no. It's nothing. Just forget about it.
Obviously something here has reminded her, Junpei. It's not that she's making no sense.
Oh, don't give me that. You really think I could just drop this? What is this experiment you were talking about?
Clover looked away. The four-leaf clover was still in her hand. Now, I do want to say, I think it was at the end of one of the endings, I think I made a prediction, or I had a thought. And I think this might be what I was thinking, because I was trying to think of. We know 9 years ago the kids got kidnapped, right? And I was thinking, well, Clover's what, around high school age? How old, were the kids that were taken? And I did ask, or I did wonder aloud, could Clover have been one of those kids? And I also wondered if Santa's sister could have been one of those kids. But let's see. I think this actually might be that.
You promise you won't tell anyone?
Cross my heart.
Really?
Really?
I can trust you, right?
Yeah, he gave you a four-leaf clover bookmark, so I mean, I'd trust anyone who did that.
Of course you can.
Clover slipped the four-leaf clover into her pocket. Her eyes still red from crying, she looked up at Junpei.
Okay, then. I'll tell you. I'll tell you what happened on this ship 9 years ago.
Hey, that sounds like confirmation to me.
Wait. On this ship?
Yeah, this ship.
So are you... Hang on. Where is it? Are you Aoi, Light, and wasn't Nona one of the Lotus's girls? She had two girls, right? Was it Nona the one that was her daughter? I should have written that down. Where is that? Yes. I wrote it under Lotus. Kashiwabara. So are you Aoi then? Or Light? Which is it? He was entirely lost. He had 1,000 questions, but it was probably best, he thought, to save them until Clover had finished.
It was an experiment to test some sort of psychic thing. Communicating through these fields that you can't see.
Ah, perhaps Were these fields called morphogenic?
Fields that you can't see?
He'd heard something like this before. Clover nodded.
Like, think about this.
She pointed at the operating table. On top of it was a somewhat mismatched medical mannequin, whose parts had been swapped with another mannequin.
This is John, right? But is he really John?
Huh?
What, are we getting Ship of Theseus up in here? What are we talking about? All Junpei could think was she had finally completely lost it.
Isn't this like Locke's socks?
Don't know this one.
Or the ship of Theseus?
Yeah, that's the one I know. Junpei grew even more confused. It is amazing how many things I've watched or read that just the ship of Theseus just comes up. That's a whole other thing. I'm not going to get into it now, but it's been in so many things I've watched and listened to that I could see the setup immediately. You never heard of either of those things, although they sounded smart.
You don't know? You haven't heard of those paradoxes?
I haven't, Locke's shoes, was it? Locke's socks. I don't know that one.
No?
Junpei shook his head.
Really?
Clover laughed.
Okay, well pay attention then. This is how Locke's socks works.
Lay it on me.
Let's say I've got a pair of socks. They're my favorite socks. One of them gets a hole in it. What would you do if that was your sock, Junpei?
Probably get a new sock. Well, hang on. Can't save, huh? I'm gonna guess they're gonna say patch it up.
Well, I guess I'd patch it up, get some cloth, and close up the hole.
But what if another hole opens?
I'd add another patch, I suppose.
What if another hole opened after that?
Another patch, I
Yes,
guess?
yeah.
Well, let's say you just keep adding new patches.
Same idea, yep.
Until eventually the original cloth of the sock is totally gone. Once you get to that point, can you really say they're the same socks you started with?
Well, that's tough. So, that's
cross
the
his
Locked
arms.
Socks thing?
Yeah, the ship of Theseus is a lot like it. The ship of Theseus. If you keep fixing the damaged parts of a ship, eventually it ends up with none of the parts it started with. Can you really say that ship is the same one you started with?
And there's also the human body works the same way, because you're always, because, the body's made up of cells, and many of them will die and be replaced, and you're always taking in energy, and you're excreting waste, and, so same thing here, the matter you're made up of, at what point, at what percentage when it gets all replaced, are you still you because you're not made up of the same stuff you were originally? It's everything. It's all stuff like that.
And what if you took all the old parts from the first ship and built another one somewhere else? Then which ship is the real ship of Theseus? The one you repaired, or the one you built with all the original parts?
It was an interesting question. Clover could see Junpei was intrigued.
Hey, do you think it's the same?
What's the same?
These guys. Is this John, or is it Lucy now?
Junpei looked at the operating table again.
Uh,
A mannequin full of body parts from a different body. Clover had been right. It was just like Locked Socks and the ship of Theseus. As anyone who's watching, any Hoseki no Kuni fans out there? Shout out. Ship of Theseus. Metaphors all the way down. Part of the body that holds a person's identity is the head. Of course, for many hundreds of years, conventional wisdom had held that a man's identity resided in his heart or any number of internal organs. And here they had both.
John's head and heart are both his, but apart from those and a single arm, the rest of his body was once Lucy's.
Was that mannequin really John?
We're just like these mannequins.
She looked at Junpei again.
Think about it. The cells in our body change every day. Old ones die and new ones are born.
Well, I wouldn't have brought it up if I knew you would, Clover. Forgive me.
Maybe part of my arm is made of stuff from a fish I ate once.
Could be.
Or maybe part of your right side is made from a cow you ate. If you take it a little further, those cows and fishes are made from something else too, right?
Yes.
That's how we're all connected. Through fields that can't be seen with the naked eye.
Define fields for me. I mean, we already talked about this stuff with Lotus in the very beginning. This is where we get into. This is something I'm not well read on, and so it could plausibly be something real. But it could also be. Well, and regardless of whether it's real or not, I don't know where this game is going to take it within the 999 universe, because I know there's 2 sequels to this. And I'm going to be playing through all of them, that's my intention. I don't know if within the 999 universe it's real, you know? Like, it could be this is something real for this story, but may not be in real life. I don't know which way they're going with it just yet. Hey, Seven, you walked in. Silence was broken by Seven.
Hey, what the hell is taking you two so long?
We're talking about Ship of Theseus. Come on, we had our mummy talk, Seven. Now we get to have our Ship of Theseus talk, alright? Seven's head appeared in the doorway. He was not happy.
How long are you gonna make me wait? We don't have time to screw around.
Junpei and Clover looked at each other. Clover looked at Junpei as if to say there was more she wanted to tell him. She shook her head. Whatever she had to tell him, she didn't want to tell him in front of Seven. Fair enough. Oh, we never got to the actual experiment. But I think that's pretty much the confirmation we needed to know that Clover was one of the kids, one of the 16 kids that was on the ship the first time round.
Oh? What were you two doing? Was this some sort of secret
But see,
meeting?
the thing that made me, I think I mentioned it at the time, the thing that was causing me to resist going full speed ahead on that idea is that so far with Seven, when he hears words like Ice, just for example, Ice 9 just now, or when he goes into the place with the where he was put, you know, after he was caught, near the torture room, those confinement rooms. When he gets to familiar places or hears familiar things, it seems to jog his memory, and yet Clover doesn't. And Clover, who we know, or at least pretty sure doesn't have amnesia, doesn't seem to recognize Seven, or at least I don't think there's been something like that. There might have been a scene that was like that, but I don't think so. And we know that Seven got to meet at least 3 of the kids. So does Clover look radically different to how she looked back then? I mean, for a kid of her age, 9 years is a long time, and she could definitely look very different to how she looked originally. But Seven, at least from those flashbacks we saw, doesn't look all that different. So I don't know.
No, it wasn't. We were just
Just...
playing with the mannequins.
Yeah, you know, playing with mannequins.
Huh?
Let's go, Junpei.
Moving a little bit too fast to be entirely innocent, Clover headed toward the exit. Seven stared after her, then turned to Junpei with an amused expression.
Playing with mannequins, huh? Didn't know you were into that kind of thing, Junpei.
Oh, he is, I can assure you.
You're a dick.
Junpei dashed past him and traced Clover's path out the door. With a short laugh, Seven followed. They stood in front of the door. Junpei took out the Jupiter key. So we have the Jupiter key here.
All right, I'm gonna open it now. Is that cool?
Yeah, I have Jupiter key found in room 7. And then I also have room 2. I don't know why I have that there. I may have copy pasted that to the wrong thing. Okay.
You don't need to keep asking, just do it, all right?
Fine then.
So the key in the keyhole and turned it. He felt it unlock. Okay. Okay. Or maybe we did. What was the, Didn't we find... We found the sun key in door 2. Was it just the sun key? I don't remember. How long have I been going? 46 minutes. My goodness. This has taken longer than I realized it would. What time is it? I'm gonna call it. I'm gonna call it here. I'm not sure why I had it in my mind that I'd be able to do all this at once. Yes, I guess because originally because I wasn't considering it to be. I guess I didn't think we'd be unlocking essentially different scenes. Because these are at least these two were 2 new scenes entirely, basically, with entirely new information. So I guess that would take more time than I originally thought. Let's call it there. Next time we'll continue down this path here. Man. Okay, so now I just gotta think, where are they gonna go with the mummy and the morphogenic fields? How crazy is this game gonna get? Chart room. This is where we had the confrontation with Ace. I need to save. Can we go in here? No. I'm gonna get to a place I can save, and then I'm gonna stop. So I'm not gonna look at this new scene. I'm just gonna pause the recording and not pause. I'm gonna end the recording here, and just next time for you guys when we pick up, it'll be from right here. Okay. Good plan. Good progress. Not as much progress as I thought I'd make. I guess it'll be a bit longer before I get to all the endings. In any case, hope you're all doing well. Some good tidbits today. Hope to see you next time. I've been The Worm. This is 999. See you next time.